Well, you said, well, you're a pretty reasonable guitar player, but how come that with every band that you wrote songs for and that you played in, that got well far above the mainstream of the guitar rock? So it must have been something to do with you also. How come? Do you know?
Yeah, no, I have no idea. It's just really flattering that all these people think, I'm a great guitar player, but I don't really look at it that way, because there's so many great players. What I do know, and that's something that I only realized the last couple of years, that apparently I have a recognizable style, and I know that because a lot of people tell me. So I think, well, that's probably the case then.
Yeah.
And that's probably because I really like melodic guitar playing, as opposed to very technical, very flashy. I like a little piece of flashiness in there every once in a while, more as a means than as a purpose. So I've always enjoyed players that have a lot of melody in the playing. Whether it's Hendrix or Jeff Beck or Brian May, Michael Schenker, Eddie Van Halen. Also, a lot of people think he's just flash, but he's not. Eddie is very melodic as well in his flashiness.
Yeah.
Those are the kind of players that really touch my. And the blues players, a guy like Stevie Ray Vaughan, man, he plays the same scales as every blues player does, but it's the way he plays them, That's I think what makes a musician have a reason to play, to make music.
Do you still plan on writing a more really blues album?
Oh yeah, actually, in the last 12 years, it was my plan to do a blues album first, before anything else. But then I thought, well, I've waited so long, and all these people keep asking me, when you're going to make an album. I thought there's a certain responsibility too to all those loyal people that like your stuff, and also I suddenly didn't feel like it, when, like I told you before, when Jan opened his face in my little studio, I go, this is what I want to do, and it's definitely gonna happen one day, like a blues album. I would love to, but right now I'm just really enjoying the Moonkings thing, and that's what I'm really hoping to keep together for a long, long time, If it's up to me, I'll keep these guys together until I fall over,
Hopefully not within 40 years.
No.
Moonkings. What are the plans for, let's say, for the US and for the rest of the world?
Well, the rest of the world, we've already hit pretty much most European countries in the last couple of months already. The record has only been out for 2.5 months, and we played England, France, Belgium, Spain, Germany, and Holland, of course. We're gonna go, we've got a whole bunch of festivals lined up now, 15 or 16, in Holland, Germany, England, and France, and Belgium. And after that we go to Scandinavia, Japan, Italy, Switzerland. Ooh, man, I'm gonna be a busy guy.
Yeah.
Good.
And will the album be released in the US too?
Oh yeah, yeah.
When?
Why Jan?
No, I mean,
oh, sorry.
The album, will it be released in the US too?
Oh yeah. The release is planned. They plan it later than the rest of the world, because, as most people in the business know, that in the United States it takes a lot more time to get an album kind of noticed, and they wanted to wait until we had the European countries done, so you can spend some time going over there, do the interviews, go to the radio stations, all that stuff, to make people aware that you've got an album out. And the album is going to be released in the second half of August, and then we're going to go over as soon as we can. But in the United States it takes a couple of months usually before a new band like we are, because to spread the word, you have all these radio stations, and you got to do interviews with everybody, and you got to do some press and stuff. So probably going to fly to New York and LA probably to do the interviews and stuff, and talk to people and answer questions like, why have you been away so long?
Yeah.
Adrian.
Yeah, Adrian, how come?
Mm.
What do you hope for? What are the first reactions from the US?
Very, very good, because there's a bunch of radio stations that started playing the album already when it was out in Europe, because through iTunes and Spotify and stuff, it's on there already, but the official release wasn't there. So there's a lot of, like KNAC, one of the main stations in LA, have been playing the shit out of it already since the release. And there's a bunch of other stations in Canada and the United States that keep asking for interviews and stuff. But obviously, you know, my record company prefers to do the interviews around the release, so you kind of a focus to the release. So that's what's going to happen. You know?
So what are you planning for then? 10 million sales?
I don't know. You know, those times, realistically, those times have gone. You never say never, but you know, I would be really happy if it does something like what it does over here. It's just people who like my kind of music, our kind of music. That there's a bunch of them in the States as well, as they appear to be in Japan and England. And you know, it was a huge surprise for me that within the first 2 weeks of the album release, we were #1 on the Amazon charts in England and in Japan, and I didn't expect anything like that, you know. The #1 thing is something you go, oh great, you know, as a reward to what you hope. Maybe, you know, you do your best, you pour your soul out on a record and stuff, and it's really nice when people like it, you know. But at the same time,
is the US important for you?
Well, it's yeah, you know, not. I've been so fortunate to experience that huge success with Whitesnake in the States, that and also actually with Vandenberg, that I know exactly what the States is like, and I really like playing in the States.
Why?
Well, because it's so different than anywhere else, and I just like the dynamics difference, the difference in dynamics in between Japan and Europe and Holland and the States. You know, it keeps you sharp, and playing in the States usually means you play a lot of shows in a row. You know, you get really oiled as a band. You know, and it's also really nice for all those people who've been waiting, apparently, you know, been waiting for me to do something musically, that you get a chance to go over there and say hi to everybody and you know, show them what we do. So
will you be playing also some old songs from from the Whitesnake time?
Yeah,
Vandenberg?
We do some Whitesnake songs, and we do some 1 or 2 Vandenberg songs. You know, so it's, yeah, of course we have to, because you know, we've only got 1 Moonkings album out. And we do play the occasional experimental cover. Yeah. We like to do some stuff like that and surprise people, you know, with oh, they're playing that song, that's strange, you know.
What song, for example?
Well, we do, for instance, our own version of I Put a Spell on You, a blues classic, but we injected some unexpected ingredients in there that I won't tell you about.
That's good. One last question. Has David heard the album?
Oh yeah.
What did he say?
He really likes it, you know, and he's very supportive. He put on his website, on the Whitesnake website right away, and you got to check this out. It's really great. And you know, as people know, we're really great friends. And David was a very important factor in pushing me, you know, whenever we were on the phone. He said, "Come on, you lazy Dutchman, it's time you make a record." I go, "Yeah, you know, it doesn't feel like the time is right yet." And he said, "Come on, you know, people are waiting for it and they like it." I go, "Yeah, hopefully, you know." He's been incredibly supportive always, you know, and we always like to check. David always asks me, "Yeah, what do you think of my new record and stuff?" And I think it's really amazing that he still kicks ass the way he does, you know. It's really amazing. Yeah. And he always gets a great band together, and he's just one of a kind vocalist, you know. He can still sing like a stupid kids song and make it sound like, you know, the most soulful blues rock song you've ever heard. So, and yeah, he's a rarity, you know. There's only a few guys like that in the rock business who can actually sing, you know, instead of just scream a little bit.
Yeah. Well, last question. Well, you said you want to keep Moonkings until you fall apart. But is there a chance that you might do something again with David? Maybe under the Whitesnake flag, or maybe something else?
Yeah, there's Dave and I have always talked about it. You know, sooner or later we're always going to do something together because we just really enjoy it. Whether it's something acoustic or a blues album or whatever, you know. And that's definitely something that sooner or later we're going to dive into when the time is right for both of us, of course, because he's got Whitesnake and I've got Moonkings, and sooner or later there's going to be like a gap somewhere where we think, you know, we're going to drink some great wine and write some good songs together and do something with it, you know.
Or maybe then the blues thing.
Yeah, there you go.
Could be. Okay. Thank you for your time.
My pleasure.